welcome back, my beautiful people. I know it's been a minute. I know I keep saying that. I just moved and then I slit my wrist open because a plate broke while I was washing the dishes. It was a good time, had to get stitches. Still have them. I go back to work tomorrow, so wish me luck on that. So this is obviously the first video in the new space. That's why it looks so plain behind me. We'll get something going. I moved in with my best friend, so this is our living room space. As far as like sound and lighting and stuff goes, this is the first one. Hopefully it's okay. If it's not, let me know in the comments. I'm sure I'll notice while I'm editing. But if it's a little funky, I apologize. For example, I have like the laundry going. I'm not sure if that's something you'd be able to hear, but we'll see. With all that being said, let's get into today's video, which I actually forgot already. Oh my gosh, bad at my job. Haven't filmed in a while. It's clear. Oh yeah, so I opened Reddit, and you know how sometimes you get recommended things off the front page? There is a subreddit called Am I Overreacting? I took a gander at that. That's what we're doing today. Should we just like start with an absolute banger? My husband won't let me take more than 2 showers a week. I told him I need him to stop or I'm moving out for a while. This is the weirdest thing my husband has ever done. He really is a sweet and loving husband, and I love him more than anything. Divorce is not an option, just to put that out there before the comments come in. That's how you know it's about to be bad, when somebody in the story is already like, divorce isn't an option, don't even say it, I know what you're thinking. My husband has always been a little out there. He is a computer programmer and super smart, but also believes all sorts of things, both real and conspiracy. Lately, he has been very worried about the environment and global warming. About 2 months ago, he got real worried about water. Yes, water. He is concerned about the quality of water. He put in a new filter system in our house, which I actually love because it tastes so much better. But he is also concerned about how much water we use, not because of money, but the environment. He created a new rule that we can only take 2 showers a week. Now, I'm someone that likes to shower every day before bed. I just don't like feeling dirty in bed. My roommate's the same way, my girlfriend's the same way. Like, they have to take a bath or a shower before bed, or they feel disgusting getting into their bed. And honestly, I'm starting to get that way too. I see it. You go out into the world all day, even if like you have an office job where like you're just around people all day and you're touching things that other people have touched all day, or you work in some kind of food service, so you're getting like food and stuff on you all day, to if you work out in nature, like if you work in grass, in dirt, of course you're gonna want to shower. But I'm just saying, regardless, like I understand why somebody would want to clean themselves before bed, like sitting in that all night. I have more to say, but we'll keep going first. This has created the most conflict in our marriage in 20 years. He's obsessed with the amount of water we use. At first I just ignored his rule, but he would shut off the hot water while I was in the shower. I started trying to use the shower at the gym, but it's too much work to go every night with having kids. I honestly thought he would get over this within a month, but he's stuck on this still to this day. Last night I really wanted a shower, but had hit my quota, as he says. I said I'm showering and that he better not do anything, but about 2 minutes in, the hot water turned off. You're better than me. I grabbed my towel and went down and started yelling, telling him this is the dumbest thing he has ever done. I also told him I'm moving to my parents if he doesn't stop this. Guys, I love this man. He is everything to me, but I can't take this anymore. Am I going too far in threatening to move out? Girl, you ain't going far enough. The way that you were like, guys, divorce isn't an option. I get it. Like, you don't want to divorce over something that like seems so small. But to me, this is a whole other problem, right? Because you have your husband setting rules for you, not discussions, not boundaries, not conversations. You have your husband setting rules for you. A grown fucking woman. Also, as far as like the showering before bed thing, he knows that's something you do. He knows that's what you're about. So the idea that he would turn around in your marriage and be like,
hey, I know this is something that you care about in your daily routine. I'm just gonna snatch that from you because I don't like it anymore.
My girlfriend has like an hour-and-a-half nighttime routine, and it is her time. It's when she gets all clean, it's when she does her face routine, it's when she like feels like she's doing all that self-care, and I love that for her. I would never, ever, for any reason, be like, hey, stop doing that because of something that I believe or I want. Like, that's wild to me. And the fact that he goes as far as like shutting off the water, even when you've communicated like, I don't feel good. I feel gross. I'm taking a shower. Don't do anything. And he still does it. Also, of course we should worry about the environment, but I'm telling you right now, you taking your nightly shower is not the equivalent of what the corporations are doing when it comes to water usage. Like, yes, it's not a bad thing to be conscious about like our part, but I promise you, girl, your shower before bed is not the problem. Some really simple things you can do that won't really affect your routine: turn off the water while you're brushing your teeth. Don't let the water run the entire time you're doing dishes. Like, if you want to do something small that you can really put into a routine, those are small things. But cutting out your daily shower, you don't have to do that. The fact that you went as far as like trying to shower at the gym, not feeling like you can do your things in your own home, Absolutely not. To me, right, I take this a lot bigger than just, oh, he's like on his quirky new thing, I thought he'd forget it, because it's like, girl, your husband is setting rules for you and forcing you to follow them by shutting off the water? Ick. No, I don't think you're overreacting. I think you're underreacting, honestly, because this is much bigger than just a shower. Somebody asked the question, how about the kids? Can they shower daily? She responded with, no, but it's 2 boys, 12 and 14. They wouldn't shower at all if I didn't force them to. My first reaction to that is like, this is the years where you should be instilling in your kids good hygiene and taking care of yourself and like making them shower. Like, come on, you don't want your boys to grow up being stinky and not like being hygienic and being like the people that like walk into the room that everybody goes like, oh, like, come on. And that's like with the option of doing it, right? Not like somebody who doesn't have access, but people who have access that like choose not to do that. You don't want that for them, come on. And on top of that, like sending your kids to school only showered twice a week out of choice, that really just like sounds like a setup for bullying. I'm gonna be honest, kids are ruthless. And if your kids are going into school and stinking, certain kids are not gonna have a problem saying something and hurting their feelings over it. And deodorant is not the equivalent of a shower. I don't know, it just seems like you're kind of jaded by your love for your husband, that you're not seeing the red flag in this and like how it actually is now affecting your children too. I wish you the best, and I hope that he comes to see you as more of a person. Am I overreacting that the guy I went on a date with broke things off because I was too sexually forward? Some time ago, I went on a date with a guy I met online. Things went amazing, and honestly, at the end of the day, I wanted to sleep with him. I asked him if he wanted to stay over at my place after we had made out, and he said no. I figured, no big deal. The next day, he texted me and said he had fun, but didn't think we were gonna work out. Fast forward a few months, and we run into each other again. We catch up for a bit, and I couldn't help but ask him what went wrong with our date. He asked if I was sure I wanted to know. I said yes. He said that he didn't want to be with a woman who would sleep with someone on the first date. I felt insulted and wanted to say something, but I couldn't really say anything because he did reject me after all. Am I overreacting? This is kind of a weird one, right? Because personally, it doesn't align with my morals in the sense that I think women can sleep with whoever they want as early as they want to sleep with them. If you want to sleep with a guy on the first date because you're comfortable and you feel attracted, hey, go for it. And so the fact that he was turned off by that, like, personally, I'm like, ick. But on the other side of things, he has every right to say that. Nobody has to date somebody or sleep with somebody that they don't want to, and if he doesn't see himself being with somebody that would sleep with him on the first date, that's totally his choice. He was nice and didn't like say anything. He just told you he didn't want to go out again, and you were the one who asked. Like, he said, are you sure you want to know? And you said, yeah, so he told you, and that's just how he feels. So from that perspective, like, he didn't do anything wrong. That's okay. On the other side of things, like, yeah, of course you have every right to feel insulted. Like, that's just an emotion that you're gonna feel if somebody says something like that to you. As long as you're not taking it out on him, like, yeah, you have every right to feel insulted. That kind of is an insulting statement, even if it was like something you asked for. I don't really think anybody in this is wrong per se. I think it's just two people that wouldn't have matched together anyways, because if that is one of the things that he morally just disagrees with you on, I'm sure there was a whole lot more that you guys would have ended up disagreeing on. Let's be so honest. So I don't think you're overreacting. I don't think he's overreacting. I think everybody just ended up not being together, and that was for the best. I just think that these are two people that would never have worked out, and that's okay. Am I the asshole for going to check on my sister after 5 hours of no communication? Am I gonna burp? Am I gonna water burp? That was a weird one. I'd love everyone's thoughts. My 30 female sister, 30 female, yes, we are twins, and I live in a big city in the same neighborhood and have a great relationship, BFFs, and the best person I know. Hang out 3 to 4 times per week, always talking about how grateful we are for each other, blah, blah, blah. Yesterday, she went out with a friend around 5:30 p.m. At around 9 p.m., her boyfriend, 30 male, who she lives with, texted me asking if I'd heard from her. He said her drinks probably ran over and no big deal, but that she told him that she would be home by 8 p.m. at the latest because usually they do date night on Wednesdays, so they could still do something. So he was just seeing if she was okay. I said no, haven't heard from her, but yeah, drinks probably ran over. Fast forward to 11 p.m. and we haven't heard from her in almost 6 hours. Not even a text back to confirm she'd be home later than 8 p.m. At this point, it's a little strange and out of character for her to not say anything, especially 3 hours after she said she'd be home. I'm still not super worried, but her boyfriend and my husband think it's bizarre enough that I should just Uber to the bar and check on her to make sure. So I go, and when I get there, I see her and she's totally fine, chatting, having a great time. I sit and chat and meet her friends, and they are wrapping up, so now it's time to go. My sister freaks out. She says it's a violation of privacy and so embarrassing and can't believe any of us were worried. Let it be known that I've literally never done this in our decades of life. So I was a little surprised by her reaction. In hindsight, I'm like, damn, yeah, I should have just waited, but it was so out of character for her to be so angry. Do you think this was an overreaction? I feel kind of ashamed that I got so worried and like I ruined her night, but a part of me feels like it's reasonable. Edit. To clarify, I checked on her because I'm way closer to the bar, 10 minutes versus 40, and that I did attempt to contact her multiple times over the course of 3 to 4 times after I heard her boyfriend was worried. Also, I was originally invited to these plans at 5:30 p.m. but couldn't go, and the only reason we were concerned is because she had plans at 8 she never showed up to. I don't think you're overreacting at all. I think you're a good sister. I think it's good to have people that care about you so much, and that this was coming from a place of care and not upset or anger. Although it's kind of shitty to make plans at 8 p.m. and then not show up. I will say that on the sister's part. Like, you say you're gonna be home at 8 p.m. for your Wednesday date night that you do every week and you have planned for, and then you just don't show up. That's kind of shitty. And maybe that's why they were so concerned. Like, she said that this was out of character for her. So like, yeah, I would have been concerned too. I would have been concerned if my best friend did that. If Elisa was like, I'm gonna be home by 8 p.m. so we can go to pool or do whatever it is that we do, and she still hadn't even texted me by 11 p.m., I'm assuming she's dead. Sorry, that's where my brain just goes. Especially if like you're out at a bar getting drinks. I would honestly feel grateful to have somebody who cares that much to come check on me and take time out of their day to make sure I'm just okay. I think it's shitty on the sister's part for not just shooting somebody a text. And that's not to say when she was hanging out with her friends, right? Like that 5:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. time slot, hey, that's for her and her friends. Those were plans, that's fine. You don't have to text people back every time you're out doing something. But it's more so that like once it started to roll over, like, of course people are gonna get worried, girl. You haven't texted anyone. So no, you're not overreacting. It's great that you are there for her, especially like you said, you guys live in a city too. She's out at a bar. That's just, that's a recipe for disaster, and that makes sense why 3 hours later you're like, damn, And we can't just like skirt past the fact that she was also invited to these plans and that it seems like her friends had a fun time chatting with her. It's not really an invasion of privacy when people are worried because you're not upholding something you said you would, so suddenly they're like, oh my god, is she dead? Is she okay? I could understand it being an invasion of privacy if it was like 7 p.m. and you were hanging out with your friends and hadn't texted them and they showed up and were like, why haven't you answered my text? Like, that's an invasion of privacy, but this, no, not at all. Am I overreacting at the pictures of my wife's ex I found? Recently we had some spider issues at our house. My girlfriend would literally throw up. I was going around trying to get rid of them. I told my wife that I was gonna be ruffling around the house if she needed me. As I was going around, I opened this small drawer, and theirs is where I found the pictures in question. They were of my wife's ex. See, earlier in our relationship, she actually cheated on me with said ex. This was before we got married. She begged me to stay and that she was never gonna see her ex again. We all made the same face, right? Like, we're all making the same face right now. Looking back now, I'm thinking I made a mistake. Yeah? But I took her back on the basis that I never want to ever hear her talk to him or about him ever again. While it took some work to gain trust again, we did get through it. Did you? Did you? That was 5 years ago. We got married last year and bought this house together. And that's what fucking gets me the most. This wasn't her house from before. She actively brought these pictures here. I told her I found the pictures and she immediately apologized and said she didn't know she had those pictures. I don't know if I believe her, to be honest. She's lying to you. She's 100% lying to you. There's no way she didn't know those were there. If you move houses and somebody put those in that drawer and it clearly wasn't you, then she knows that they were in there. Somebody had to have put them away, and she was the one who did it. And I think that's weird. I know some people are probably gonna be like, oh, but like memories, he was a big part of our life, like whatever. It's your ex. Why do you have printed photos of you and your ex, or just your ex, or whatever it is? Like, why do you have that? I absolutely would not put up with that. Like, it's weird, it's disrespectful, but it's also kind of creepy that you just have pictures of your ex lying around. On top of that, she cheated with him, so it's like an extra layer to this. Like, even if she hadn't have cheated, I still would have been like, that's weird as hell. But she also cheated, so now it's like an emotional kind of affair type thing where she's keeping photos of him around. Like, why? Is she just looking at those, reminiscing every once in a while? Because that's where my mind goes. I'm like, clearly she has these for a reason and she's holding on to them for a reason. And that makes me uncomfortable for him. It almost sounds like she cheated on you with him and maybe he didn't want to get back together, so she went back to you. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I know that's a lot of speculation, but that's the vibe this gives if she's still carrying around pictures of this guy. Like, it sounds like she married her second choice, and I know that sounds messed up, but like, come on. She cheats on you with him, and then suddenly she's like, oh no, wait, stay with me, but I'm gonna keep pictures of him around my home for 5 years? Absolutely not. There is an update on this one, so let's read that. So I talked to my wife after I cooled off. Right now, I am thinking we should divorce, but I am gonna try being on my own for a bit. I decided to go travel alone for a bit. My wife and I discussed this, and she's okay with it. We're not on a break, so to speak, so I'm not gonna look to be with other women. I just wanna see what it is like to be alone. Just so you all know, if my wife had just forgotten she had those pics, it may have been better. The problem is that they were just pics of him or both of them together, and there wasn't any other things in there. Just those pics. Heck, there wasn't even anything in the other drawer. And I mean, if you moved homes, you're not gonna check if you have any junk in a drawer. I just don't believe my wife forgot, or at least didn't realize she had those pics when we moved. I don't care if he was a big part of her life, she still cheated on me with him. I will repeat, she cheated with the guy on the pics. Some of y'all either didn't read or chose to ignore that little detail. It's amazing how many people defended their relationship or were like, well, technically you said she couldn't talk to him again. You never said anything about pics. Anyways, I do appreciate the support from the rest of you. So right now I'm thinking divorce, but I just want to make sure I'm happier alone. I can't believe that people defended it at all with the information given. And like, to people who may have been like, well, he was a big part of her life, was key word. Keep the memories in your head. You don't need photos of him to reminisce and like bring back those memories in a stronger way. Like, that's weird. That's weird, right? That's weird. That's weird. I'm saying it. That's weird. I don't care what other people think. That's weird. And especially like cheating with him. What was the other thing that somebody said that was wild when I was reading this part? Technically, you said she couldn't talk to him again. You never said anything about pics. It's called respect. It's called a boundary. It's called not pleading ignorance. If your partner is like, hey, don't talk to the guy that you cheated on me with, and you're like, okay, I'll just keep photos of us around the house together and hide them in a drawer. Come on, you know better. You know better. Like, you can't tell me that you just like, oh, I didn't realize that was a problem, or I just didn't know I had these. Like, absolutely not. I'm on his side. I don't care. I'm on his side. As far as divorce goes, that's up to you. Clearly it runs deeper because of the cheating, and so it's a much larger issue at that point. And it's also just like, to show that you can't really trust her like you thought you could. You couldn't trust her to take care of your emotions, and clearly she still has some kind of feelings or thoughts towards this guy if she's keeping these photos, which she clearly knows she has. I don't care what anybody says. She knows she has those if she moved house with them. I'm on his side. I don't care. This trial period of being like, I'm just gonna be alone, see if I can handle it, is a little weird to me, because it's like, no, have the self-respect, leave. Okay, we have one more, and I'm just gonna guess that there's a DV trigger warning on this based on the title. My fiance fractured my arm after thinking I had a man in our house. Should I marry my fiance after he put his hands on me? No, straight up just no, just absolutely not. My fiance is an amazing guy. Okay. My fiance is an amazing guy. We first started off as friends, so the foundation of our relationship is pretty strong. He is so perfect and good to me in every way a man can be good to a woman. However, he can be very controlling, territorial, and because of his childhood, he has a lot of trust issues. The way that you said he's a perfect man and then jumped to controlling and territorial and all of this stuff and then excused it with like his childhood, no, red flag already. He owns his own trucking company and sometimes is gone for days, even weeks at a time. Recently, he went away and was coming back, and I was excited to see him. When he came back, the neighbor car was parked in my driveway, which it never is, but I gave him permission to do so because of an event he was having at his house, and our HOA doesn't allow parking on the street. When my fiance came home, I was in the bathroom shaving, and all of a sudden he came in yelling, "Who the fuck is in the house?" and checking in the shower, closet, bed, etc. I remember feeling so confused I didn't even respond. He grabbed me by my arm and kept shaking me and calling me a liar, and saying I was like his mom and a lot of other hurtful things. When he found no one in the house, I eventually realized he saw the neighbor's car and thought I had another man there. There was also a man's boots on the steps, but they were his, so I'm confused on how quickly things escalated in his mind. My fiance fractured my arm, so I had to go to the hospital. Now he is apologizing, and I feel like in my mind, if I marry him, I'm allowing him to think this behavior is okay. But another piece of me feels like he is a good man. I have distanced myself from him since, and he keeps bringing me expensive gifts, jewelry, roses, and other nonsense. I have never experienced this side of him, and we have been together 2 years. I am so torn and don't know what to do. I am 29 39 female, he was 36 male. Part of this that worries me is she's like, we've been together for 2 years and he's never shown me this side of him. Like, yeah, sometimes people can keep that under wraps for a long time until something happens that makes them blow up, unfortunately. The fact that you've already seen him being controlling, you've already seen him have all these trust issues, you've already seen him be territorial, as you put it, shows me that there was signs that it was kind of leading here, and that like this man is just a red flag and you shouldn't be with him. Like, yes, people sometimes have traumas due to their childhood. Don't take it out on your partner, don't take it out on your friends. Get therapy and work on yourself so you can be stable in a relationship and not have outbursts where you hurt someone. That is, no, don't marry this man. Don't marry this man, because this is telling of things to come, because this is not something that he has fixed. This is something where he's now desperately trying to buy back your approval and be like, oh, I love you, let me love bomb you so you feel like I care and we can be stable again. But in reality, that doesn't fix the issue. It doesn't mean that there won't be another time like this where his mind gets ahead of him and he does something horrendous again. No, absolutely not. In no world do you take this man back. He needs serious help that he has not gotten, and you are not his therapist. You are the person that he's supposed to love, and this is what he did to you. Absolutely the fuck not. No, no, no. I hate ending on that note, but I really just don't want to do another one after that one. That one really pissed me off for this girl. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you want any of my social medias, they'll be in the description below. And with all that being said, I will talk to you hopefully sooner rather than later this time. Bye, guys. Oh, like and subscribe. Yep.